What's going on, guys? It's Hayden, and I'm bringing you the Week 2 recap for the Zygarde division of the ISL World Cup VGC. And just like always, I have a very good Battle of the Week for you guys. And then I have the MVP update and the Week 3 schedule later on. And then if you missed the other two recap videos this week, I am going to be adding the MVP standings, Constructor MVP standings, and the overall league standings at the end of each video. And that's just to show basically where everyone's at with 2 weeks left until the knockout stage. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the Battle of the Week for the Zygarde division. And that Battle of the Week is between Rose of the Sunset Rose Meowstic and Vizsla of the Minnesota Timberwolfies. You have the Parish Song Trapping Duo and Gothitelle and Politoed for the Meowstic, along with heavy hitters in Hydreigon and Delphox farther down the list. Then for the Timberwolfies, you have a top-heavy assortment with Ursaluna Bloodmoon, Sneasler, and DD. And then you have the surprise of the tournament. Scyther has been doing well in every single division, and I can't wait to show you guys what it does in this battle. A little bit of spoilers, but let's go ahead and jump into this. with that, the Timberwolfies do take home a 2-1 victory over the Meowstic. And in my preview, I said Scyther was going to go off, and Scyther did just that with 7 knockouts. Almost a perfect showing, but it did get taken out in the second battle. And Scyther with this 7-1, I think is the most impressive individual effort in any week we've seen so far. So I'm excited to see the MVP rankings after this. And then other than that, Ursaluna Blood Moon went 2-2, picking up the only other knockouts for the Timberwolfies, as it was just basically a one-man show for this week. And then as for the Sunset Rose Meowstic, you also had Politoed and Altaria showing out with 3 knockouts apiece, and then a Hydreigon getting the lone other knockout for the Meowstic. Once again, just an unbelievable showing from Scyther. Next up, we have my battle against Tommy Wobbles and the York City Corviknights. I came home with the 2-1 victory, and I actually have Ditto and Dondozo to thank for that. As you can see in the second battle, Ditto went 3-0, and then in the third battle, Dondozo went 4-0. I go into further detail on my channel for this, Choice Spec Bear, and this was just a very, very fun battle to play. And the second battle actually came down, I think, to the very last turn. And then the third battle, I just had an amazing play with Dondozo to open it up. I think it was Toxtricity and Dondozo lead. Then I Volt switched out and brought in Tatsugiri, and it was just a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun to record. And shout out to Tommy Wobbles for the amazing battle that we had. And hopefully that Ditto and Dondozo pair continue to pop off for me, because it's been really fun to use those two. And up next, we actually have a forfeit win for Error Code. I know it says Martin of the Sacramento Villains on here, but this was actually a forfeit win from a previous coach that had to drop out, and I already switched over Martin's logo and everything to the spreadsheet. There's still a possibility of this game being played, and if it does happen, I will cover it in a future Zygarde division recap. But for now, Eriko does get the 3-0 forfeit win, and that's what the standings will reflect until this battle is actually completed. And then for our final battle, we have Yannick of the Paris Eternal taking home the 2-0 victory over Attack of the Lafayette Litwicks. Just a solid battle from both of these two. I actually was debating on whether to put this as the battle of the week, because even though it was a 2-0 win for the Eternal, as you can see on the bottom, first battle was 2-0, and then the second battle was 1-0, and then the tiebreaker for me and the first battle that I showed you was the first battle went to 3 games, and this one went to 2. But for the Paris Eternal, both Glamora and Trevenant picked up 3 knockouts. Arcanine picked up the other 2. And then for the Litwicks, Rhyperior picked up 2. And Slowbro also picked up 2, with Torkoal picking up the lone other knockout. And as for MVP after 2 weeks, Scyther of the Minnesota Timberwolfies is actually the overall MVP for the ISL World Cup at this very moment, going 10-4 over the first 2 weeks for the Minnesota Timberwolfies. And it is actually a dead heat between Torkoal and Scyther in the Constructors MVP, as well as the overall MVP. And I just can't wait to see how that plays out, and I can't wait to bring you guys the standings starting next week. And then finally, our week 3 schedule, we have The Sunset Rose Meowstic taking on the Portsmouth Pachirisu. The York City Corviknights taking on new coach Martin of the Sacramento Villains. The Lafayette Litwicks taking on my Chicago Cub Foos. And then finally the Kalamazoo Camels, coached by Cam and Mel, taking on Paris Eternal, coached by Yannick. And this is a big pivotal week. You have two of our heavy hitters going up in our fourth battle between the Camels and Eternal. And then you have a bunch of coaches who it's a make or break week. Basically, every one of the first three battles has a make it, basically win, and they stay alive for the knockout stage, lose, and unfortunately, due to how well you have to play in this tournament to make the knockout stage, they would be mathematically eliminated. So I can't wait to bring you guys week 3 for all divisions, the Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. Please let me know who you guys think will win in these 4 matchups. And as always, thanks for watching.